Before we get started, we'd like to thank Merchants Bonding Company for sponsoring this episode of Let's Get Surety. Merchants Bonding Company is the largest surety-focused company in the United States. If you want a common-sense surety approach, ease of doing business, and a first-class experience, see what Merchants Surety experts can do for you. To learn more, go to merchantsbonding.com. Now, on to our show.
You're listening to Let's Get Surety. Let me hear your bonding talk with Kat Shamapande.
Hey everyone, it's Kat Shamapande. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Let's Get Surety. I have with me today as co-host Mark McCallum, CEO of NASBP. Hey Mark, thanks for being on.
Hi Kat, my pleasure as always.
It's always great to have you on, and particularly today as we're kicking off a new series on the Let's Get Surety podcast called The Corner Office Conversations with Surety Leaders. And I don't think we could have a better guest to kick off this series. Today we have Larry Taylor, president of Merchants Bonding Company. Hey Larry, thanks for being on.
Hi, thank you, Kat and Mark. I really appreciate this opportunity and share my passion for surety.
Larry, before we dive in, can you just tell us a little bit about Merchants Bonding Company?
Oh, I'd love to. We just celebrated our 90th year last year in 2023 as being a bond-only company. So that differentiates ourselves from many of our peers and competitors in the market. We started in 1933, like I just said, and interestingly, the company was founded by my great-grandfather.
Oh, really?
So I'm very privileged and honored to be a fourth-generation leader of our company, which we all know is almost unheard of in any industry.
That's terrific.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've been growing, moving up the ladder, and creating opportunities for people and serving our customers.
That's really fascinating to be the fourth generation.
Yeah.
But did you know that you were going to go into surety, or had you charted your own course before then?
Yeah, I did not plan on this coming out of college, but you could say surety's in my blood, being related to the founder. But no, I had another career. I actually grew up in California, did not grow up in Des Moines, where our headquarters is. But in 1988, I was going to make a career change, and my uncle was living in Phoenix. I was in Phoenix. And he gave me a little nudge to give this a try. He did say if I was going to move up in the company ranks that I'd end up in Des Moines someday, which was fine. I have family here and love our city here. So in 1989, I made the leap into surety and about to have my 34th anniversary with Merchants.
Wow. Wow, that's terrific.
But yeah, it wasn't planned.
Larry, you said that you're a bond-only company. Does that mean you're both doing commercial and contract surety, or do you focus just on one?
No, Mark, we write most lines of surety and some fidelity as well.
Okay.
But we're essentially, I call that a monoline, but we do have a mix of contract and commercial. So about 70 to 75% of our business is contract, and the remainder is commercial.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so we have strategies in all areas.
So you said that you're growing. That's a big word. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you mean by growing?
Yeah, so I love the word growth. And one sticky note on my desk is growth is not about having more, it's about being more.
That's great.
So to us, growth is creating opportunities for people. But being a larger company revenue-wise is how those opportunities come. Yeah, our market share has increased, and we hope to continue that. Not too long ago, we were under 200 people, and now we're close to 240.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
just
great.
the last couple of years. It's been fun.
Yeah, that's terrific. So it sounds obviously like you're seeing opportunities out there in the surety space. Could you tell us a little bit more about some of those opportunities?
You bet. So where we have seen opportunities is essentially by listening to our agents and tell us, if merchants, if you want to grow, here's what we suggest. So we have a very robust agent advisory council process. And then our leaders spend a lot of time very intentionally listening to those feedbacks. So to get more specific, many have said that, boy, if you had a local presence, that relationship would probably build more effectively and you would grow. So we listen to that, and geographic expansion has been a big part of our reasons for our growth. Relationship building, we hear opportunities to differentiate ourselves in the marketing area and really show appreciation for those relationships. And then opportunities, Mark and Kat, in technology investments.
Wow.
So in particular on the commercial side. So we really strive to be the easiest to do business with and make that efficient, because we all know that time is of the essence on those, and you don't want to get bogged down in those processes. Opportunities with new tools. So we're a selective underwriting company. Our loss ratio is consistently below the industry average, but we formed a specialty solutions division a couple of years ago, and we were admitted into the SBA program back then, and we are now, in just 2 years, I believe we're the second largest writer in the SBA program.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a quick ascension there, and we have strategies to continue that. And then also that division offers other tools such as funds administration, collateral, other tools to write business that, again, didn't typically fit our historical risk profile, but could hopefully grow into that standard area.
Wow. So with growth, obviously, then I imagine you've had to foster both the appropriate culture internally with your staff and also the appropriate culture externally with the producer community. Would you touch a little bit more on both those groups?
You bet. We invest heavily in culture internally here, okay? Also recognizing that culture changes with growth and the current work environment, demographics of different age groups, et cetera. But there are some consistent things with Merchant's culture as well throughout our history. So there I would start with access to our leaders. So I know this new program is called the Corner Office, but I'm not a big believer in the corner office, having our leaders in the corner offices. So access to leaders, and you walk around our building and et cetera, you see our leadership very visible. Create opportunities for associates to learn and grow and become leaders themselves. We invest in work-life balance. And of course, that's been very dynamic since COVID, but even pre-COVID, we really respected a work-life culture here. We encourage different insights and different backgrounds in our associates. So we really embrace an inclusive and diverse culture here. We're very deliberate about that. We intentionally express gratitude internally, and then we celebrate and have fun. So we certainly work our tails off, but we like to let our hair down a little bit as well and invest in that. And then giving back to our communities where we work, and not just here locally, but throughout our almost 30 branch offices now.
Wow.
So that's culture to us. I could say it's our building or our facilities, which we also invest there, but it really starts at the top with leadership.
Yeah. So going more to the producer community, how do you build those relationships? How do you develop culture with them as well?
Mark, that's part of the relationship building. We want to be a company where people like doing business with us. Okay. So response time, having a knowledgeable workforce, and being able to communicate our reasons for the decision and be nice to hang out with. We want to be smart at what we do, responsive, nice to do business with, because you can't write every opportunity, but you still want to get that next opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's very important to be service oriented. We invest significantly in that.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
And Larry, you mentioned technology as one of the areas you're investing in heavily. What's one way that, or a way that merchants is tackling the challenge of technology as we move forward with all the changes and AI coming into the picture and things like that?
Yeah, there's always tremendous opportunities to invest in technology for your growth, and it's always changing and dynamic, right?
Yeah.
To have systems that are easy and simple are very important. We invest significantly in that externally and internally here so that our underwriters can handle more and more business, but still be efficient at that. And then our agents get better service in that regard. We have very robust technology in commercial and in contract as well. What's down the line? Artificial intelligence. To us, that will, with the amount of uncertainty there should be opportunities to make better and more efficient decisions and get better service to our agents,
right,
to our customers. Yeah, technology's been a tremendous investment.
Now, has that also meant that you're, particularly maybe after the pandemic, moving towards acceptance of digital documents or electronic signatures? Have you gone in that direction as well?
Yes, you bet, Mark. Even pre-pandemic, we were one of the first to have digital signatures, improve the process. Yeah, absolutely. Wherever there's opportunities, we're making investments in that.
That's great. That's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted to circle back, and just for my own point of clarity, obviously you've mentioned the standard market and so forth, and that you're growing. Are you also looking at small and emerging construction firms as an area of focus?
Yes, I mentioned in our new specialty solutions division that we're admitted in the SBA programs. That's where a lot of small and emerging opportunities lie. And we think that's going to increase, by the way. We think there's going to be more work set aside for, especially at the federal level, which continues down. As I mentioned, we're now the second largest writer in the SBA program.
And that in part maybe a greater focus on infrastructure work coming out, maybe at federal and state levels. Is that part of the impetus?
Partly, yes, but really just an opportunity to say yes more often and use tools that are out there, which we just really weren't set up for in the past. So we put a very experienced leader in charge of that division, and we're very excited where it's going. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. So speaking of infrastructure, as a surety leader, what do you see as some of the additional opportunities for the surety industry as a whole coming up in the near future?
Yeah, so where we see opportunities, it starts at the federal level with the government spending coming out, which we think will be pretty robust this year in 2024, being an election year. But certainly the horizontal construction, highway, street infrastructure. We see lots of opportunities: power, sewage, waste disposal, water supply, industrial, conservation. Really nothing negative we see in the public horizontal sector. Challenges will be on the vertical side. The challenges should be office space. The outlook is negative. Other commercial and retail, more on the negative side. Lodging, stable to negative. But opportunities there will be healthcare, education, public safety, communication, transportation in that sector. On the private side, manufacturing should be strong.
So it does sound like there are a lot of opportunities emerging. Do you see?
So. Yeah.
Do you see broadband as one of those areas? And is merchants thinking in about that space at all?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's on the list as well, for sure. So
great.
Yeah, there'll be opportunities. The residential side, we always see opportunities in the subdivision bond market but single family home outlook is going to probably decrease, even home improvements decrease. Some of those outlooks are a little more negative, but we'll see opportunities.
Right. Great.
And then commercial surety too. We think there'll be opportunities. What's important there is managing the risk and understanding the risk.
Right. It seems like commercial surety, there's always kind of new markets with potential for new surety products in a way. And I know in the energy space, which is a big sector, like clean energy and areas like that with wind and solar, do you see opportunities in those areas as well?
Yep, we do. And that can dovetail into the construction side as well. Yeah. Yeah, we think anything involved with the environment and improving air quality, et cetera, there'll be opportunities.
Right.
And Larry, you've mentioned a lot of the opportunities that we can look forward to seeing in the future. What are you mentioned a couple of challenges, but what are some of the other challenges you think we're going to be facing as we look forward?
We feel general challenges will be ones that are directly related to the overall economy. Okay, as costs increase, people get a little more conservative or fearful of a recession, et cetera. So mostly probably on the private side in the construction. We're pretty bullish on public works.
So Larry, I was wondering, as a surety executive, is it very important then to look at the regulatory environment and to frame out what's a true opportunity and what maybe to pass by? How do you do that? And what is your thought process at Merchants on that?
Yeah, so we don't see any easing in the regulatory environment as far as of insurance products, including the space we're in. So there are certain states that ask more and more in regards to the oversight. So we don't see that changing. If anything, it's increasing. And those aren't revenue producing areas. They're necessary. They're important.
Right.
Yeah. So not complaining about it, but we need to be on top of that and proactive.
Right. Do you think as an industry, we have opportunities to do better about public relations on the virtues of the product? And what do you think can or should be done in the future in that regard?
Yeah, great question, Mark. I think it's extremely important for us as an industry to always consider, the relationship with those parties, those public bodies or private bodies requiring our product. Yes, we think it's extremely important to be responsive, to have a positive work relationship with those parties requiring our bonds, whether it's a public body, a private company, or a general contractor working with subs. It's a high priority for us to be responsive and to have a good relationship with those requiring our product.
Right. Absolutely. I know you're not only a leader of Merchants, but you're also a leader with the Surety and Fidelity Association of America. And they came out recently with a study by Ernst & Young that kind of really set out some of the virtues of bonding. Could you tell us a little bit more about that study? I think that's very important information for people to hear about.
Thanks for asking about that. And I was actually on the executive committee at the time when we undertook that project. So what were the outcomes of that? And it's interesting. There's the common thought is that bonds just will result in increased costs for the project. That study indicated that no, it actually decreases the cost. And then actually that having our involvement helps problem projects get resolved. Independent study undertaken by E&Y, and great result that I feel we all should use to promote.
Yeah, it feels like we all felt that those were the right outcomes, but we didn't have a way to actually have a third party indicate, yes, your project's going to be better off being bonded. You're actually going to save money and you're going to get the result that you want. Kudos to you and SFAA for undertaking that and getting that pushed out there.
Yeah, thanks. And it makes sense that a project owner and the individual owners of the company are going to work well together and try to get those bonded projects completed. Great outcome. We all need to use it as much as we can.
So again, you talked about culture and you've talked about growth and you mentioned associates. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you attract talent, the importance of attracting talent to the surety industry? And because whenever I have a conversation with a surety professional, unlike maybe your path, many of them hadn't heard of surety, and somehow they found themselves maybe by happenstance getting into surety, and they're all fervent believers in it as a career. So how can we do better making others know about surety as a career?
Great question. Our economy experienced a lot of turnover through COVID. Mm-hmm. Our turnover was much less than the overall averages in financial services space, especially. Very important for our growth and success is to spend resources building people and not hiring people.
Oh, I like that.
Except what comes with the growth, where you naturally have to add people. Big investment for us, but it pays off. We think it's worth it. People, at the end of the day, it's about the people who work with people they want to work with. So
I love often in these conversations we hear about it's really not a product, it's a relationship. And if I think more people knew that really it's about solution providing and relationships, those are selling points for anybody who wants that in a career.
And we're not a household name as an industry. So we've actually lived this intimately the last couple of years. I think we've hired somewhere in the range of 50 to 60 people.
Wow. That's great.
Which is been very robust for us. We've had to go out and find because people don't know even our industry and ring our doorbell, especially when a lot of our growth has been outside of our headquarters here locally. So it's been a combination of experienced people in surety, new people in surety, and then other areas. So one thing we learned in COVID is, even probably a little bit before COVID, was that you don't have to work under the same roof as everyone else. So we can have IT developers out in other geographies and other roles as well elsewhere.
That's a great point. And it was such a huge change in the work world.
So you have to be able to adapt, and we're very nimble and an adaptable culture.
Larry, I was wondering, in your career as a leader at Merchants, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
My grandfather used to tell me often, Larry, if you don't have some problems, then you don't know what's going on. The degree of the problems change.
Yeah.
But there's always stuff that keeps me up at night. Never rest on my laurels. And it could be things from very big items, like, say, a reinsurance program or a big loss or something, down to how we communicate throughout the organization, where there's always things on my mind. So
what takeaway do you want for somebody about Merchants who's listening?
One thing I like to say is that we're not a bond department. We're a bond company. Okay. In fact, now we're the largest bond-only company in the industry. Great industry, great culture. Just love going to work every day.
Before we let you go, Larry, what would you say is the best perk of being the leader of a surety company?
Oh boy, the diversity of the job. Every day is different. You just never know what's gonna hit you. So every day, to me, that's a good thing. I like having variety and unexpected challenges and successes that arise on a daily basis. So, Really proud of our company, our associates, and our stature in the industry.
We certainly appreciate all the support that Merchants provides NASBP and the producer community. So thank you very much.
It's our pleasure, and I want to sincerely thank you for the opportunity to join you today.
We'll have to get you back on again sometime, Larry. It's been great talking to you.
You've been listening to Let's Get Surety, brought to you by the National Association of Surety Bond Producers. For more information about the NASBP and its members, visit nasbp.org.
Before we go, we just wanted to thank Merchants Bonding Company again for their generous support in sponsoring this episode of Let's Get Surety. Merchants Bonding Company is the largest surety-focused company in the United States. If you want a common-sense surety approach, ease of doing business, and a first-class experience, see what Merchants Surety experts can do for you. To learn more, go to merchantsbonding.com.